Zimbabwe over the recent massive fuel price hike have died down. However, the strike continues and the business community is concerned about the effects of the already fragile economy. Harare says the country is losing $100 million a day due to the shutdown. For the latest on what's happening in Zimbabwe, let's talk to our news correspondent, Effet Musekiwa. Effet, a very good morning to you. Can you bring us up to speed with the latest in Zimbabwe?
Good morning, Desiree. Yes, indeed, I can confirm business community yesterday held a meeting where they actually did indicate that they are losing quite a lot of money due to this shutdown. And they are saying that the government's shutdown of the internet as well adds to their problems, where they are losing more than $100 both to the unavailability of workers and also the unavailability of the platform where they can do their payments and their trading on. So they're saying almost close to $100 million a day, and now this whole week they've lost close to about more than $500 million in lost revenue due to the stay away.
What do we mean when we say government shutdown, Effet?
Well, remember the government is the one that has instructed that internet service providers shut down the internet. So businesses were actually calling on government to revise their decision because it's actually affecting business, because it's actually aiding. They're saying the government is actually aiding in the shutdown, in that even if business wanted to trade, even if business wanted to operate, they can't do that without internet.
What specific businesses have been affected?
Well, mostly it is your retail or your fresh produce. Most companies that do fresh produce, they've had to, they've incurred a lot of losses. Also, in fact, every sector, because the problem is that there are no workers that are able to go to work. So every industry has been affected. There is no specific industry that I'll say has not been affected. The transport industry has been affected. The manufacturing industry has been affected. Almost every industry in Harare, save maybe for mining towns and people that are into mining, those might not be affected. But everyone that is close to the central business district are affected.
Has business formally communicated why it has decided to take this line of action?
Yes, they did communicate yesterday. The Minister of Industry and Trade was part of the discussions yesterday, and they actually indicated to government that he should communicate with his colleagues in government to tell them to revise or to rethink their decision to shut down the internet, because they're actually suffering more with following government's actions.
Let's go back to the initial reason why the protest came about, and then caused the reason for the shutdown to that cause of action to be taken. The fuel price hikes. How is that going? How has it affected, especially transport in Zimbabwe?
Well, most transport operators, your public transport, they've actually hiked their fares for ferrying people in and around the central business district, in and around different cities, people that need to travel. The prices have actually been increased in reaction to this price hike. But it's surprising that even with the price hike, fuel is still very difficult to access. You move around stations, you see very long queues, people spending nights and hours still trying to access the fuel, even in as much as the price has been increased. So really, we haven't seen any improvement in the fuel sector after the price. Actually, what we have seen is actually an increase in the fares of public transport.
There has been concern the whole week about the fact that as Zimbabwe goes through all these machinations, the president is not in the country, he's in Russia. What is the conversation in the country around the president's disposition as the country goes through these problems?
Yes, indeed, I can confirm. He was in Russia, he then moved to Belarus. Now he's in Azerbaijan before he heads to Kazakhstan in a few days' time, then heads to Switzerland. So he did announce his trip before he announced the hike of the fares. So people are just saying he should have not left I think a lot of people that we have spoken to said you should have waited to see, or should have waited to address this situation, because it's really deteriorating and things are getting out of hand. And without him on the ground to really determine the next course of action, you will recall that even the Minister of Energy is with him on his trip. The Minister of Finance is also with him. They travel together. So really, the critical people to address this situation that is currently bedeviling the country are all out of the country. So people are saying that it's not helping with them not being available to address or to attend to the matters that people are faced with at the moment.
When we started the conversation, we spoke about the protest having died down a bit. How does it speak to looking forward to next week? What do you think will happen as the country expects perhaps the president to come back, even though it will be probably the middle of the week? But what can we expect to happen next week?
Well, it's going to be interesting, because remember, most of the people that were involved in this protest are being rounded up and arrested by the police. So we expect next week the court proceedings to commence. You will understand that one of the organizers, Pastor Ivan Maurira, who called for the national shutdown, has been arrested and has been remanded in custody. His lawyers indicated that they wanted to appeal at the High Court on Monday for him to be put. They wanted to appeal for bail on Monday. So we expect a lot of court cases for all these people. Some of them trials and different, further arrests of people that are actually believed to be involved in this protest. So next week, we don't know. Schools, the whole of this week, schools were closed. No schools were opening. So we expect schools to start opening next week. We expect banks to start operating next week. We expect a lot of businesses to start operating. But in terms of improvement in the situation, we don't expect a drastic improvement, because you realize that for the past 2 days, in as much as the stay away has officially been over, there has been very little response or very little turnout of public onto the streets, public onto the central business district. People have chosen to stay away. They've taken a cautious route, wait and see what authorities and the protesters are going to do next before they really go all out to conduct their business.
You speak about Pastor Moarira being remanded in custody. What happened to the other 200 people who were also arrested?
Well, I can. The information that we have is that more than right now the arrest, it's now 700 people have been picked up and arrested and detained by the police. It's now 700. It's gone way past the 200 figure. The number that has appeared in the court as of last night was hundreds of people. So a lot of them have appeared before the court. Some of them we expect them to appear today, because you know that there is a law that if you do not appear if you are arrested and you do not appear before a magistrate in 48 hours, you will actually be released. So we expect a lot of them to appear today, since they were arrested yesterday and the day before. So a lot of people are appearing before the magistrates. We do understand that there were actually some convictions of about 6 or so people who were convicted for public violence and are spending between 6 months and 6 years in jail for public violence and public disturbances.
If it's just to wrap up our conversation, what has been your sense of the opposition MDC's response to events in Zimbabwe this week?
Remember, we spoke to the opposition on Wednesday through their spokesperson, who said that this is just a purge of the opposition, a continued purge, which they've always been claiming has been going on for over a very long time. They say that they are not involved, or they did not have a hand in this protest, but a lot of their officials, a lot of their leaders are being arrested. One of their leaders, organizing secretary, has actually been picked up on allegations of inciting violence. So really, they claimed not to be involved in this whole protest, but government has actually blamed them and accused them of terrorist acts.
All right, we were at the end of that conversation anyway. We seem to have lost that line. Effort Musekiwa talking to us from Harare in Zimbabwe.